Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, our great audience. And from the session where our colleagues were talking about motivation, we are coming into another, from my point of view, highly motivational and impressive session, because today here with me there are three absolutely great speakers. When I met them for the first time preparing for this session, and they shared their stories with me, well, I really felt like becoming much more active, doing something, and working actually on my level of English as well. Well, I am a moderator of this session today. My name is Olga Zuyeva, and I have been working in education and language learning for over 20 years. So for me, it kind of goes without saying that together with the better command of English, mastery in a foreign language, not only in your native language, come great changes, such as thinking processes, ability to analyze information, to process it. And this, in its turn, gives you a great push in life, making your life completely different from what it used to be before you started speaking another language fluently. However, let's really test my hypothesis with the stories from our three speakers. So I will be introducing them one by one, and next 45 minutes, our speakers will have an opportunity to share their story, and then we will come into discussion of some questions which you may also contribute to as the audience. So let me introduce our first speaker, Timofey.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Welcome. Timofey is currently a student at an international school doing an IB program, International Baccalaureate. And if you really know what it is, you can imagine how great Timofey's life is. But Timofey, which part in your has English played in your life?
Um, so I was born and raised originally in Russia until the age of 16, and then I went to an international boarding school here, and that's when really progressed in English, got it to a very high level, and it allowed me to have friendships with the people I could never imagine it before, and also, of course, it gave me the learning opportunities and opportunities in education. So before I went here, I was in the state school in Russia. So my level of English was not especially high. I had fortunately a chance to travel, so I've been to UK a few times, and so there was an additional opportunity to practice my English. But by the age of 16, I had somewhat of a free, like, I felt myself free in English. I obviously, my English wasn't really articulate, it was awkward at times, but I felt secure that I could express myself in any kind of situation, and in the end, I would be understood. And with this level of English, I went to this boarding school, which is in Switzerland. And well, it's partly in German, but I was basically caught in the environment where everyone spoke English. I had no Russian friends. The staff members, obviously, whether they came from around here or they could be from UK, from in Australia, so they all spoke only English. And in this environment, obviously, my English started rapidly developing. I got a more intuitive understanding of the language, understanding of basic stylistic features. So I learned more slang, which I could use to talk to my friends. I learned more academic vocabulary that I used for my schoolwork. Um, and yeah, it progressed a lot. So the very obvious benefit that I got from learning English is managing this IB program. which is taught in English here. I think there is alternative you can learn it in French and Spanish, but mostly it's English. And with this English diploma, you can apply to basically any school and university in any part of the world. And this is the great thing about English, just because in today's reality, that is the language spoken worldwide. It's the language of science, of art, perhaps, of education. All the best universities obviously have English as based programs, and so it just gives you a lot of freedom and choice what to do. But I believe another speaker will talk about it later. Uh, but what I found the most valuable for my personal development was actually the friends I got here. So as I mentioned, none of my friends spoke Russian here. For most of them, English wasn't their first language either. So I have like a friend from Germany, I have one from Mexico, from Turkey, from Switzerland, and so on. And I believe obviously connecting with any people is beneficial just because you choose who to be friends with, you choose who to spend time with, and you just, yeah, you can enjoy your free time. But in addition to that, you have more people to count on everywhere around the world. You can feel at home anywhere basically, and English allows you to do that. But what I found the most valuable was the development of the personality that you get with it, because all the people you talk to obviously contribute to your own development. So you take something from them, you learn something from them, or just from being around them, observing them. And the more diverse are the people around you, the more diverse your experiences are, the more widely, broadly developed your personality is in the end. You understand more things, perhaps not as deep as, for example, if I was born in Mexico, but now I can, for example, understand my Mexican friend. We had very different backgrounds, very different, like, based in our lives, just the things we were raised on. But English allows us to connect, and I can learn a lot from him and like from any other of my friends. And it's the same with any language, that as soon as you learn it, you get many people that you can connect with. But for most of the languages, it's usually one or just maybe a few nations. For example, I also learned German, and with that, I can talk to Germans, Swiss people, and Austrians. And basically, that's it. But English today is the language of the world, and so you can understand anyone, you can learn from anyone and take it all into yourself and help you develop yourself.
Well, Timothy, that's really an important thing from my perspective, which you have mentioned, that in fact, uh, your best friend's native language is not English either, right?
No.
And so English helped you not only to meet, but in fact expand your horizons and understanding of the world, which definitely is much more than we do when we just travel or work through the translation.
Um, well, here probably the translation part comes in anyways, because it's not the native
Mhm.
for all of them, and well, it has to happen at some point. I translate. I translated first my thoughts from Russian into English. They both the same, but essentially, just English allows you to communicate freely with people all around the world. So
Mhm,
there are problems of translation. Obviously, I would probably understand German culture much better if I learned German. I would understand French culture much better if I learned French
mhm,
deeper. But English gives you understanding, maybe somewhat superficial, but still an understanding of everything, and that's just wonderful about it. And then obviously you have a deep understanding of the originally natively English cultures as well, so British, American
mhm.
literature and so on.
So absolutely different level of understanding of actually what is going on around the world and around you. And Timothy, one more question, if you don't mind. Uh, has your perception of other people changed over the years? Like you mentioned the point that with your best friend, you grew up in different environments. Oh, well, which is obvious, of course. Mm, has your attitude towards that changed, or actually you always thought that it's kind of cool?
I came here already very open-minded. Otherwise, I would have not gone to an international school. But
Yeah.
one thing is imagining how it would feel to uh, living close together with a person from another country. Another thing is spending a year sharing a room with a person who grew up in French and like yeah, that an absolutely different country and environment. So, like, I had the theory, I had the ideas, but I could actually see it in practice and feel how it actually is.
Have they worked out the theories?
Yes, I found that it's wonderful and essentially we can all connect from everywhere around the world because we have the same, like, our culture and native backgrounds deepens our personality, but on a very like first impression, we're all the same. We share very same human emotions. Like they say that children from around the world understand each other, and
Hmm.
well, basically, this child is still always in us, and
Yeah.
obviously, I believe you can find this connection. The problem is usually just the language barrier, which English takes down more effectively than any other language.
Oh, well, that's a really great idea that essentially we are all the same. And if you don't have this language barrier, you can feel it faster.
Yeah, you can.
You can really confirm that. Well, thank you. Thank you, Timofey. That was valuable experience, really. And I think that our audience may have some more questions to you later on. If they do, I will definitely get back to you. Let us meet another person in our great inspirational speakers group. So, Sophia, hello.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Yeah, right now, Sophia, well, it's not really a dumb thing to talk about age generally, especially as far as ladies are concerned. However, being as young as Sophia is, she's currently working as a director of content in a USA-based company, and also she is a multimedia arts program coordinator on an international online platform. Well, Sophia, has it anything to do with English and with the level of English?
Actually, it does. It does like very straightforwardly because the thing is that when I was around 10 years old, my mom decided that I'm gonna live outside of Russia. So she just decided that my life path was just this way. But the funniest thing is that when I was 16, I just realized that I need more space. I'm too curious about the world to stay in one country, meeting one people, and just like being in this closed cube, if you know what I mean. So I decided to go to the Netherlands where I got my BA degree. And that was really funny because I was just 16 years old. And for European students, that's outstanding when a person at 16 years old finishes the degree at school and then goes to university. That's outstanding. And I was the first president over there to do that. So they were not sure before they met me, actually. And after that, after I mastered my English and my communication skills on international scale, I just realized that also, as it was highlighted by Timothy, actually that all people all around the world are pretty much the same, and the things that were made from the same, yeah, I don't know, from the same doll as the same Russian. So the thing is that when you realize it, you just understand that there are no borders in the world. Absolutely no. Seriously. Asia, Europe, Russia, whatever. Seriously, Africa. I have a lot of friends from Africa, Asia, and etc. etc. Because people are all the same. We are all raised on different backgrounds, yes, but we all experience the similar feelings. We have similar thoughts. We have similar dreams, actually, And when you realize that, you're just more open-minded than you thought, and you just realize you can even work in this environment, because when you live in this environment it's different rather than you work in it. So at the moment I'm employed at various companies that are also internationally based. I'm 20 years old again, and that is really um, funny for me because when I'm going somewhere, people are always like, what? No. So yeah, that's really funny, but at the same time it's really nice because like I can feel how much time I have and how much space I have already at my age. And when you just realize that you're comfortable in this international background thing, when you're like a citizen of the world, you can work in any type of company, and you can like you can develop yourself as a professional from a various points of view. Because for instance, I'm employed at the Israeli company, being the coordinator of multimedia arts educational program. And the thing is that they have absolutely different mindset, and they just teach you how to think differently, how to develop yourself in the ways that you did not anticipate. That's the precious, the treasure of English language, that you are opening these small things for yourself. Because once you gain the language, once you master it, once you have the freedom of speech in it, actually, then you can like do whatever you want. You can produce, you can develop, you can just master yourself from all points of view, including the personal development that was highlighted earlier by my colleague. Then also when you're working in the US market, it's absolutely different thing. And also at the same time, they are making fun of my British accent. I know that, but still, we're good friends, and that's really nice and really, it's a nice icebreaker, when they're speaking Texas and I'm speaking London. So that's really funny. And what I want to say is that speaking and thinking about English language contributed to my like to me as a professional. I can see that like English was the actually the first step of me when I was just 10 years old. That was the first step that I did in my professional career. That was the first step that I did as an like grown up, that I decided to open up this bar for me, that I just decided to, that I can do that. Yeah, I'm too curious to say it. And that's absolutely amazing, because no matter what you do, like absolutely, you can be in Paris and work in Bangladesh. That's absolutely doable, and that's amazing. And that's the option of the 21st century that is out there for everybody, but not everybody realizing it. And what I really want, like for us, for our generation, for the future generations, to take that up like seriously, because that's the most amazing thing that would happen to the world, that it became international and the best meaning of this word. And
Mhm.
English is the best tool to do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Sophia, have I got you right that for you, actually, English was kind of a springboard that gave you so much freedom and that, well, shall I say, even carried you out into this world, which is working right now for you in a way?
Actually, yes, yes, indeed. And like the best illustration for that is my applying to the university, because when I
Mhm.
came to the interview, they were surprised by the level of language, by the liberty I had in the. I have the cultural degree, so language is one of the most important things, because you have
Mhm.
to understand the academic language, and also you have to be like very, you have to feel like it's your second skin, like your second
Okay.
nature. So like, and when they just realized that the 16 years old girl from Russia knows English that well, that she can actually work, she can do papers, she can study, she can live in this language, they're just opening up this opportunity for you, though it's against the rules of the university and etc etc. So that's
Mhm.
absolutely the English language that actually opened up everything for me.
So the key
Yeah,
to all
the
the
key.
doors.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, now I'm really interested in what Uliana has to say about the English language and benefits of learning it. Though, frankly speaking, when you think about benefits of learning English, that sounds a bit boring. However, when you really start realizing what in reality is behind this phrase, then it's when you really start thinking, maybe I wanted to. Sonia, thank you very much. And let me introduce Uliana. So, Uliana is our next speaker who also had this opportunity to study abroad. So, Uliana graduated from University College of London and she returned back. And right now, she is working in an amazing project, which, frankly speaking, well, like really, I admire people who have come up with it and who are doing it right now. It is a project of Teacher for Russia. So, Uliana, how has English led you to where you are now?
Hi, hello everyone. Well, to be honest, I'm an English teacher, so obviously I wouldn't have this job if I didn't know English. So, well, I was born in St. Petersburg as Timothy, and I was raised there, and I was there until I was 17. And then I always had the experience of going to international camps since I was, I think, 13. And I think that's when a language does like a real breakthrough, when you sort of forget that the language is even there because you're so interested in like I don't know making new friends or meeting I don't know Spanish boys or whatever, and you're not focused on the language anymore. You're just focused on like what you need to communicate. So I think that like this sort of motivation, this passion, it just makes you I don't know forget that the language is even like the barrier. It makes you forget it when you're so interested in the subject. So when I was 17, I really wanted to become an architect, which I did not do, as you can see, but that was a conscious choice. And I wanted to go to London because London is an international capital, and I guess I wanted to be in the next Zaha Hadid or whatever. So in order to get a university degree in Britain, you need to have either an international baccalaureate that Timothy does, or an A level, which is significantly easier. So that's what I chose to do. And when I came to London at 17, I was just a bit shocked because I was a very good student at school. I passed all my exams with flying colors, but when you actually get there and you need to like figure out how to pay electricity bills and how to get around London subway, you're like, oh my god, this is real life and it's in another language, Jesus Christ. And I remember the first class ever in my college in A level was history of art class, and it was about French philosophy and how it related to the development of abstract painting. And I was like, what's going on? And then the task was to write 1,000 words on an abstract painting. And I thought, oh my God, I don't even know that amount of words in English. And I think, but everyone seems so smart. And I think that's why, like, I figured out it very, very quickly. And then after I figured out all the basics, I realized how much has opened up to me, and especially in terms of art, I guess, because unfortunately, in Russia, we are not too open to the idea of contemporary art. We don't have that much of content, that much of like that many articles written about it, etc. And well, all the best museums in terms of contemporary art are in English spoken countries, so in London or in New York or whatever, etc. And I think that's again, I was so interested in the content, in that case, art. I was like, when you can speak the language, when you can speak the language of the descriptions in the museum, when you can read the interviews of the artists, and you don't have to rely on someone's translation. You can actually like you can feel that you're touching the art. Basically, you can feel it like you're engaging with it directly, and it's just such a great feeling. And even though I entered a university in architecture and I started studying it, I really soon I realized that it's too sort of introverted for me because architects they spend a lot of time the computers, designing buildings, and I realized like I want to communicate. I want to use my language. I want to use my I know desire to learn new things, to make new meanings, and that's when I transferred to London because I originally started studying in Edinburgh, and I transferred to London and entered this magical program. It's called Architecture and Interdisciplinary Studies, which is really hard to pronounce, but it's great because it makes you consider architecture in relation to different areas of our lives. And that's when I realized that I'm actually very interested in education. And I ended up writing my dissertation on how the space in our schools, the architecture of our schools, impacts our learning experience. So I guess in the way my dissertation has somewhat relation to what I'm doing now, because I think that my room in which I teach is great because I made it so. But yeah, and when I was graduating, I realized that I have a lot of energy and I have this big love for English, for art, for learning new things, and I hadn't had that before I came to England. Even though I had really good teachers in Russia, they were just not as I guess they were not as passionate as as I would like them to be. I know, no judging there, but anyway, that's why I decided to enter this Teach for Russia program. So basically, it aims at giving educational opportunities to kids who live in socially and economically disadvantaged areas of Russia. So that's why now I'm an English teacher in Veliki Novgorod, in like an industrial district of Veliki Novgorod. And I know, I hope that I can share this love for English, this love for getting to know the cultures with the kids whom I am now teaching. Yeah.
Hmm. Great. So it looks like English was a sort of a, well, shall I say, a star leading to the way where you now feel happy through a kind of like intricate paths, because switching over from one vacation into another, but maintaining the same level of love and interest towards language and culture. Was it like that?
Yeah, and to be honest, after writing my dissertation, which obviously used a lot of academic language,
Hmm.
it's really hard now to like remember how to explain present simple to people because like you go from writing like an elaborate abstract on whatever like different theories, and then you have to go to the basics again. But it's a great challenge. But I think it makes your brain work like better, and I think being able to go not only to go from basics to more advanced stuff, but also to go from advanced stuff to basics is also like it requires a lot of understanding
Hmm.
of the language and of the way that people learn. So yeah, it was I have to say that also my parents, like Sonia's parents, they desired me to um, work in an international company, and that's, to be honest, a teacher in Veliki Novgorod is not what your parents expect of you when you
Hmm.
graduate from University College London. But they know that I'm doing a great thing and I'm enjoying it, and I hope that I'm bringing some amount of joy to the kids that are my students now. So yeah, I think even though the path was a bit unexpected, it's great.
Hmm. Yeah, it certainly was. And well, I guess that some people in our audience are maybe thinking, well, how you actually learned English in the first place. I mean, all of you, that allowed you to get into an international environment and study there. Tim, what was your experience like initially learning English?
So I started learning English at the age of 8 only. That was the second grade in Russia. Um, it was just a public school. Then I went to a state school. So most of my English actually comes from the school, but also I had somewhat similar experience to Uliana's, where uh, I traveled with my parents and I could use English there, but also I've been a few times to international like summer camps where I spoke English and for the first time had to actually employ it for somewhat of everyday life purposes. But honestly, I always had a choice to still speak Russian often, and I used it a lot. And what really was a breakthrough was when I came here to study at school. It was just a coincidence that in my year, in my first year, there was literally only one other person who was from Russia out of like
Mhm.
60 students, uh, which is not the case for the school usually. The class that graduated last year, there was like six people speaking Russian, and we were only two. But I think it was a big luck for me, although it was a challenge at first, because I did not lock myself in this Russian speaking community and
Mhm.
to deal with like people from other places and speak only English. And I think that's when it really was a breakthrough. I also kind of lost 1 year in transition because after
Mhm.
I graduated from ninth grade in Russia, I could go directly to the first year of international baccalaureate, but I chose to have like this buffer year and basically repeated the year in English. And it was very easy academically, but it gave
Mhm.
me this 1 year to like actually get used to learning in English.
Mhm.
Yeah, living my life in English as well.
Oh, that's an interesting point. So, in fact, would you say that in order to master language, you have to, well, I don't want to put it to find yourself in a survival situation, but it pretty much sounds like that.
Well, it wasn't a survival situation, but of course, the more pressure there is, the bigger impact it has. And
Mhm.
uh, I obviously, if I had no English, that would have been very, very hard for me. It
Yeah.
wasn't that much of a challenge. Again, I already could more or less freely express my thoughts. Well, it could sound weird, and it could be not very appropriate or whatever. But essentially, I could communicate.
Mhm.
But then only having it like in every day, in both just outside school and in class, that's when it really.
Mhm. I see. Well, Uliana, how was it for you? How have you started learning English?
Well, I have to say that probably my older brother plays a big role in that because he used to always, he's 4 years older than me. And when he started listening to like classic English music at the age of 12, so it was like my eight, I guess, he was like, "Oh, Ule, you're already learning English for 2 years, right? So translate this part for me." I was like, "No, I can only say like one, two, three, four." And I think that was a big boost for me because every time I think he found like a new song that he really loved and the lyrics of which he really loved, he used to push it on me, which I'm now really grateful for. Then it was really stressful, but I think that was like the first point when I realized that English is not just a lesson in school but also a way to understand something else. And yeah, as I've mentioned, international camps a huge boost. And but yeah, in international camps, always there's like a big group of Russian speaking students, and even if you try to avoid them, you will still end up being there. So I guess yeah, the real boost is when you surround yourself with English all the way. You're learning in English, you are consuming content in English, songs, videos, whatever, movies, all your entertainment is in English. That's when you're trying to, like, that's when this moment when you're translating your thoughts from Russian to English, it disappears. You're just starting like thinking in English straight away. That's when it happens, I think.
I see. So, what am I hearing is that, in fact, the more English you have, the better at English you are. However, there seems to have to be some sort of challenge, either coming from an elder brother or from environment when you really have to get into the language and realize it's not only about this huge textbook which you're supposed to be learning from. I see. Well, Sahir, how was it for you? How did you initially learn the language?
That's funny because my fate actually thought about me not having Russian speaking people around me while I was in the start of getting to know the English language. Because I actually don't even remember the time when I started. So I think I started around age of 6 or 7. But the thing is that on the age of 8, um, my parents decided to do following things. So they decided she's mature enough. She can be for a month on English boarding school. I was 8. Yes, I was harsh, but that was really fun because I I still have a friend from that school, and every year since 8 years old till 14 years old, because on 14 years old I was in ninth grade and we have this GI exam, so I couldn't really spend time not getting prepared for that. So since 8 till 14, pretty much every year I spent at least a month in summer school. So the system was that I finished my school in Russia in early June, and then I automatically go there to the UK and I studied there. That's why I have this funny accent. And like I did that throughout like a lot of years, and that was really nice. That was really fun because I love London city, seriously. It is a survival situation when you're trying to pay your bills, especially the electricity one. Yes, but after you do it once you can do it. And I just like this country a lot, and I also loved that I had friends from all around the world, though I was going to only one country every time. That was like curious. And also I remember that really great boost in learning language and everything was actually traveling for me, because not even traveling with my parents, because my mom speaks several languages fluently, and like I always hear how she does it, and like I'm catching something since a very young age. But at the same time, when you're doing it yourself, it's another like it's another level, seriously. So since the age of 14, I started doing a translator job. That's why I traveled like throughout Asia, because I had that's funny to hear that a 15 years old kid has a business travel, but I did, and that was cool because thanks to my father, he helped out with me because he connected me with a company that needed the representative in the English speaking representative, basically. So traveling was like really, really a huge, huge boost for me, seriously, because it's just so interesting and I enjoy it a lot. So I think when India opens up for you, and Philippines and like South Korea and everything, this is just opening up for you, and you just realize you can go there by your own, and like you'll be fine. You can find food, you can find a house, you can spend your time, and that's really cool. So I think traveling is the thing, and also yeah, my parents.
Aha, okay, that's another interesting aspect of things. Because, Sophia, you mentioned two things that earlier on and now, that something like your parents didn't really think it's a problem. Yeah, you can do
No.
that. So,
Well, yeah,
yeah, it was kind of like expected.
it was kind of experience, I would say, or like an experiment. Oh,
Uh-huh.
not expected, but experiment maybe. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just I think that I remember. So my mom has a sister, and my auntie she did this mistake by sending my cousin to the English speaking or international camp, and she ended up in the Russian community. So my mom was like,
Hmm.
you're going there by yourself, huh? Packing.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, and by the way, yeah, my next question is exactly connected with that because you probably know that there is still a stereotype that mastering another language is not for everybody. You have to have some sort of predisposition, have to have some kind of like innate, inborn abilities, good memory, whatever not. Well, I can even count that, and there is serious research on that. Well, would you go along with that? Because you're really different. I mean, with your interests, with your mentality, with your ways of thinking, Does and you well, I guess it's not the only thing that unites all of us, but you have great level of English. Is it possible for everybody? Uliana, what do you think? Well, shall I start with you as a teacher of English? Actually.
Obviously, again, I wouldn't be at this job if I didn't believe that everyone could speak English, everyone could learn English. Obviously, we all have different paces, and it's okay, you know. Like
Mhm.
some people learn it at certain, like they have their time, they take their time, and some people they just consume the language that goes, and it's easier for them. But it doesn't mean that there are some people who can't do it. Definitely everyone can, just probably may take more time for one than another, but that's all right, you know. Probably would take me longer learning how to ride a horse than it would take Timothy or Sophia, because they have different, I know we have different bodies and whatever. So that's about English as well, and about learning anything basically. Yes, we do have certain predispositions. I guess I'm not certified biologist or whatever, but I think that it's absolutely possible for everyone as long as you are interested in it. And as long as, I think English is just such a magical subject to learn and to teach, because you can just learn something else through it, and it's amazing. You can, you know, like you can, when you're 10 you can talk about your favorite superheroes in English. When you're 16 you can talk about your favorite, I know, Korean singers in English. And it goes on, like the list goes on forever, and it's amazing. And that's why I think that English is open to everyone.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, thank you, Sonia. Do you go along with that? Or still somebody has to push you, otherwise no.
No, I think no one has to push you. You just have to like have an ego to do that, because like once you just realize how many good things could happen to you while like right at the very second when you can ask about the apples in the shop in an English speaking country, at the very second when you pay your first bill and your first, when you're just doing groceries, you know. I was so afraid for the first time when I was just younger. I was so afraid of going to get groceries because I thought that I would never do that because I'm so bad at math that I will screw it up because it's on the other language and something should go wrong. But no, and I was 9, so like that was absolutely fine. Seriously, it's, I think that people are very used to the binary system in a lot of things. I can, I cannot. I'm a technical, I'm a humanitarian. It's not like that anymore, I think, because like the modern world actually adopted our, like, from the sociological point of view, human is adaptable being. It's a social being. When you are in any sorts of circumstances, if you want to, you can do whatever you want. Seriously, people fly to space. You know that cosmonauts, they do that every single day, and that's crazy. And speaking a different language is not that crazy. So I'm pretty sure that anyone who just knows why and what for, then absolutely.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Well, Timothy, how do you feel on the matter?
I mean, we all at some point learned one language, and there shouldn't be a problem to learn one more. Essentially, we're all capable. For someone, it takes more time. Obviously, like the circumstances matter. When you're more stressed and it's more needed, then obviously you learn faster. Again, as kids, it was quite a challenge for everyone to learn their first language, start speaking. But yeah, because it was necessary,
Mm-hmm.
everyone managed. So if it's necessary, if you have interest, then you will manage to learn another one just the same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so necessity, interest,
It's what,
not being afraid.
yeah. I mean, it's what pushes you. It's the, I mean, the previous part of the conference was about motivation, and like that really matters. If you don't want to really learn a language, if it's not necessary in your everyday life, if you can easily live without it, you probably won't really try hard. Simple as that.
Oh, Well, that is definitely true. You may even survive on just a couple of dozens of words in your native language.
Yeah, you can try. I mean,
Yeah.
it's especially in your home country,
hmm
you most probably won't need it unless you start working online or something.
Well, thank you. Really, thank you, people. We have here three amazing stories about English opening up, well, shall I say, erasing the boundaries of what is possible and impossible, opening up lots of new perspectives and life, and wrapping up this session because well, though I don't really want to, I would like to ask tons of questions to these great young people because I'm frankly speaking amazed. Really. People, I really feel like hugging you because at your young age, you have done lots of things and taking lots of those steps, which, from my point of view, have already made you and turned you into global thinkers. Seeing some things at a level which is much deeper when it's usual and typical. So I don't want to offend anyone, and I'm really happy to be a moderator of this session because I enjoyed our conversation a lot. And thus, I would like to ask you people, if you were to summarize in one phrase for our audience, why on earth you need to be fluent in another language, what would you say? So why not just to speak language at, let's say, kind of like pre-intermediate level, get by in language? Why do you have to go further?
Freedom,
Uh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
freedom. Just one word, not even a sentence. It's one word. It's freedom. It's wider horizons, more opportunities, more possibilities.
hmm Yeah, I would totally go along with that. Definitely.
I think also confidence. It boosts your confidence incredibly, and it's also really fun. It's really fun when you're confident in language and you can do whatever you want with it. It's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with it.
hmm Okay, kind of like being free to play your life the way you choose.
Exactly.
If I am to combine both. Okay, Sonia, how do you feel?
First of all, I would just want to add that it's inevitable that your language will actually improve. Because even if you are at the beginner's level, like if you just practice it from time to time, it's like a muscle. If you practice it, then it'll just, yeah, grow. That's it. That's inevitable. But what I would say is that confidence, yes, freedom, of course, but also an opportunity to contrast and compare. Because once you have like this many things,
hmm
it's different to having this many things, because like when you have this many things you can just like look from another angle. You can just choose the best version. Like it should not be restricted by any borders, like country, people, food, whatever. Like seriously, you're just having more options, and like having this opportunity to choose, to like choose what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for your future. That's absolutely amazing. That's why one would want to. I'm not saying that's the absolute reason, but maybe having a better future is a nice gift that English can give you.
Yeah, the right to choose is somewhat in our psychology, and we would love to have that. If it comes together with English, that I would rather say uh, that's a great side effect. Though side effect is usually negative, but that's a great asset, really it is. And well, wrapping up our session, I am expressing my gratitude to our speakers. I really feel motivated after our discussion, and I hope that at least some of our inspiration and confidence and freedom and right to choose will go to our audience. They will make a good use of it, as you are already doing right now. So thank you very much, people. Wishing you, well, really the best in whatever you do. And let your path be, well, smooth and challenging enough. Sorry, cannot go for smooth only. So, and tomorrow we will meet again during the second day of the conference, of our amazing conference, which allows us to share some methodological life ideas and our experiences with a bigger audience, which I also think, well, for me, it's probably an opportunity that English gives you as well, because you can talk in English, about English, through English, and that's why we all have met here. So thank you very much for your attention. People, thank you very much for your participation. Really.
Thank you very much.